So as we kick off really the presentation here, and then we're going to jump into a demo, fly through that, and then give you some slides and live interaction through our site, so you can really see what it's like once you become a member on MovingWorlds. But just to do that, we always like to start all of our webinars just with really this emphasis on why we're here as an organization, which is to help unlock the incredible potential, the time, the talents, the expertise that you have, but to do that in a way that also creates some level of fulfillment and progress to you for whatever that is. We have people earlier on in their career who are using this to develop global experience, people in management director levels who are using this experience to stretch, learn, and grow and improve their strategy and management skills. And we also have senior experts who join us to see the world in unique ways and give back the incredible expertise and focus that they have. So for everything that we do, MovingWorlds always tries to hold these two things in balance of connecting expertise to the parts of the world where it's needed most, and providing life-transforming experiences to those that give. If you want to read more about either of these, we have two what we call well-researched papers, in addition to a whole slew of news and media and other pieces that really dive a little bit more into our methodology. First, around how we create an impact. So this article in Stanford Social Innovation Review about all the analysis we've done to make sure volunteers land with impact. And then, gotta click that link a little too excitedly, I think. So I'll jump back into the presentation here. And then, so there's the actual live presentation. And then the other piece, sorry, I need to cancel out of my presentation here for just a second. Let's start that again. There it is. And then the other article, also in Stanford Social Innovation Review, about how we optimize our programs. And this really dives into one of the programs that we designed and managed for Microsoft. But the learnings are really consistent across all the programs that we operate, about designing and ensuring that every program is also creating leadership development outcomes in addition to in-the-field impact. So here's what we'll do just over the next about 15 to 25 minutes here, depending on number of questions. I'm going to jump over, sharing my screen, dive directly over into our main site so you can see what it's like once you actually become a member. We'll then give you a sneak peek into our actual community so you can see a little bit more about how our community is functioning. And then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So I'll go ahead and do that now. I'm going to open up in a different browser, and I'm going to stop the share for just a moment and then restart it just to make sure that you can actually see this screen. So by now you should be looking at a web page. It's got a kind of goofy picture of me from a conference long ago with an organization that I actually still volunteer at on the side there. And in it, you'll see that this is the dashboard view for a member. And maybe if I can just do a quick confirmation via chat or my fellow presenters here. Is that screen showing up okay? Are we looking at the MovingWorlds dashboard? Perfect. So once you're on your dashboard as a paid member, what you'll see is that you get prompted, both in terms of the program that you're in and what you should do next. Now, we suggest projects to you, and while we will always suggest projects that align with your skills, we also give you the ability to search for your own projects. So if you are interested in this project, there's a couple things that you can do about it. The first thing is that you can save this for later. So if you're not sure if you want this project or not, you're still thinking about it, you can always hit save. That does a couple things. It helps our organization make sure and kind of get a first feedback on whether the types of projects are really aligned with your profile, which helps us find more aligned projects and helps our algorithm improve. But the other thing you can do upon reading a project is you can dive in and you can make sure that the language and time aligns with you. You can learn more about the organization and the representative. You can see more pictures directly from the project, and these are all organizations that have been shared by the organization in the field. You can read about the details, the deliverables, and of course you can read about the benefits. Now, one thing we like to emphasize here, none of our projects on MovingWorlds charge you as the experteer in order to volunteer. They're all coming and working with us specifically because you have skills. So while there is a membership fee to join MovingWorlds, that's in order for us to verify you, verify the projects, and provide long-term planning support. That's really the end of the charges, except for your travel expenses. Everything else, the local organization is just working with you for your skills, not for your money. And that's really the foundation of what the Experteering project is all about, making sure that it's a partnership-based experience where you can give your skills, but you can also learn and partner with the local organization to create change. So once you're actually a member, if you're interested, you can request an introduction, and we give you guidance and recommendations on what you should actually put in your introduction note. You can input that, and then you can send the message. Now, when you send that message, our team is actually alerted to say that you have now requested an introduction to this organization. We review that. We check to make sure that that introduction makes sense. And then our system will notify the organization representative to review your application, to review you, to review your introduction message, and then reach out to you via our system. From there, we will guide you through a full process. Now, we know it's a long one, maybe even a little daunting, but don't worry, our system guides you through this entire process. So here, I'm on this Experteering process page, which you can access at any time here by looking at the matching process. And you can see how we guide you step by step to even requesting an introduction, providing templates and assistance, and then guiding you through all the steps that happen next. You'll have an introduction call. After the call, you'll confirm your match. Once you confirm your match, we invite you to work on a planning guide together. We provide you training for best practices. We guide you through a planning checklist in terms of what you should do next, not only for travel, but also for learning, travel safety in case of emergency. We give you your complete planning guide, which you'll work on in partnership. And then for those of you that are interested, we give you extra benefits in terms of developing your own skills around cross-cultural leadership, social enterprise best practices, network building, and more. And we guide you through all of these, and our system will do it. But in addition, once you're at this stage, you also have the power of our community, which you can access just from here on the top bar once you become a member. So to just give you an idea of what's going on in our community page, and here I am looking at our community. So you can see other members that are currently online. You can jump over into our upcoming events to see, what's happening in the MovingWorlds community. At any given time, you'll see that there are live events that give you the opportunity to connect directly with other members of the platform. So coming up this week, we have a live Q&A and informational. We have some webinars. And Millie, since you're really leading a lot of these office hours and informationals, maybe you can just tell us a couple other highlights that you're really seeing that take shape on the community platform here.
Hello everyone, this is Millie calling in from Cusco, Peru. I do apologize for the music in the background. I guess being here on the ground in another country, it gives me a very similar experience to what a lot of you as experteers will experience when you're on the ground, and being able to be flexible and adapt to crazy things that happen on the ground, such as working in a cafe because you lose power in your entire block. Anyway, so with that said right there, I do apologize for the background noise. In terms of events that are happening on the MovingWorld platform, like a lot of the educational component, we have weekly events where you can learn more about how to hone and tweak your specific profile, so that when you're connecting with host organizations, you're able to really figure out what's the best way for you guys to collaborate together. And if you need feedback on those collaborations, you can always bring it back to the community during one of these webinars, such as the Experteering planning workshops, where you can talk to other members of the community and share out your experiences, your questions, and hear how other people are also navigating through these conversations. But then there's also really exciting events such as networking events, capstone shareouts, where you can hear about what other experters have done in the field, what skills and experiences they've brought to the event, and what skills and experiences are they gaining from those projects. And then, we also have impact stories, where it's just basically a story jam, an informal way to connect with other experters and really get to learn and know more about each other. Because our community, apart from helping you to find a perfect project for you, as well as helping you to develop professional development skills and whatnot, it's also also about networking and supporting each other. And so we want to do things that are also fun outside of the formal learning experience. Then there's also ongoing workshops and events for you to continue to develop those educational experiences as well. So come in, wherever you are in the process, take what you need, and chime in.
Perfect. Thanks,
And if you have
Millie.
any other questions, feel free to send it to us in the Q&A.
Perfect. Thanks, Millie. And just a quick tour through some of these things, and you can see what Millie's talking about. Like, in our all members category, which is people from all of our programs, they can come in and you can see travel tips, travel meetups, stories and share out. On popular demand, we recently started a book club. And so at any given time, there's just a slew of conversations, experteers introducing themselves, sharing their stories, which gives you the opportunity to connect with others. Now, for those of you that are really diving more into, exploring this experience for professional development, you're considering our Plus program, you want extra learning, extra content. Not only is there a professional development area where, amongst other things, we have a job board, different funding opportunities, and areas where you can ask for more support. But what you can also do, and I'll jump over into kind of our all categories page. So give me 1 second as I navigate there. What you can also connect into on our site is some areas where we deep dive into specific content. So we have, and I'm going to transfer over back to our slides for this in our community. Oh, I forgot to share this. So just a few pictures of how we have members that have working together on interactive workshops, going through some of our in-person training events for our institute, random meetups here from people that were experteering in the same place just over the last couple months. And then here, Lynn, a picture of Lynn actually experteering. But Cole, I'll hand it over to you, and maybe you can talk about some of the smaller focus areas within the community available to our Plus members that dive even more into the skill development and case-based workshops that we work on in community.
Sounds great. Thanks, Mark, and thanks, Millie. So just to build on what Mark and Millie had shared, we've really built this to be a learning community for people who are getting ready to experteer, people who've been in the field, folks coming from some of our other premium programs like the MovingWorlds Institute, to really just find ways to continue to grow this global network of people who are interested in finding better ways to use their skills for social or environmental impact. So as Mark said, I have the privilege of leading the MovingWorlds Institute and doing a lot of the curriculum and education work here at MovingWorlds. And so as you can see on the slide, these are just some of the category areas that we produce live workshops and resources and trainings. All the learnings on the MovingWorlds platform are self-directed. They're also interactive and peer-supported. We find that we get professionals with really, really full schedules calling in from all over the world, different time zones. So not only do we emphasize flexibility and allow you to dig into these at your own pace, but we also know that people learn together better in community. So we make sure that there's a social element to how people dig into these different areas. So as far as the topics go, we try to emphasize and cover topics that help you to make a real impact while you're experteering. And then also ones that continue to weave into your work and support you as you grow as a leader. So some of the things that we cover that Mark had mentioned, we have been supporting experteers, people going out and working with social enterprises in the field for years. And we've developed a set of best practices that help to optimize working in a cross-cultural environment and having an impact in the field with your skills. We also on things like human-centered design. So human-centered design is a concept that we use to try to make sure that regardless of what your skill is or what the organization you're working with is, that you are coming up with the most relevant and innovative approaches that put communities' needs and assets first as you're developing projects with them, to ensure that the context is there and that anything that is designed and implemented is actually representative of the on-the-ground reality. We also do a study of sustainable development and social entrepreneurship, really believing that, although this is a very diverse field and it's ever evolving, that if we as a community can come together, go through case studies of successful social enterprises, not-for-profits, programs from all over the world, that we can deepen our understanding, we can increase our ability to collaborate with each other and find better paths forward. Some of the other pieces that both Mark and Millie mentioned is a professional development and growth channel where we're helping you to better connect with your purpose and find ways to accelerate your own impact career. And then finally, working on things like storytelling and capstone sharing. So these are elements of all of our programs where we try to help you to take all of these experiences that you've had and then weave them into a cohesive story that you can tell moving forward about your impact. And so, Mark, if you could advance on. So I think the thing that is really like the engine, the foundation of all of our educational programs is that we really, really believe in this transformative learning model. And we support it through our programs, whether it's the Plus program or the MovingWorlds Institute or impact teams. And it all starts with setting goals. Research has been done time and time again to show that not only is setting goals important, but setting goals in community and having people who are going to hold you accountable. So we help you to get really clear and to set smart, measurable goals that you can achieve during your time working with us. We support the articulation of these goals by learning new concepts. So whether that's cross-cultural leadership, or human-centered design, or even some of the experteering best practices, these new concepts help prepare you for stretch experiences, because any kind of transformative learning requires you not only to have tangible goals, but to stretch yourself a little. We find people with amazing skills who come from all over the world and try to find ways where their skills can benefit social enterprises in the field, but also be at that kind of learning and growing edge where you're stretching a little bit. You're changing the way that you're doing your work to try to bridge it to doing new kinds of things in the world. And the way that we make this possible, and, although sometimes stretches can be uncomfortable, we make sure to have an amazing environment, peer-based support where we can have critical conversations, support each other in this growth and in this change and in this learning that we're doing. And then finally, we harvest all that's happened between, setting and reaching your goals, learning new concepts, working in stretch environments. And we do that through share outs. So whether that's a capstone or whether that's a story you're telling moving forward, we try to help you to kind of teach back what you learned and share out the things that happened to you during the experience, whether that's in assistance to increasing impact with the project you're working on, or trying to find a new job or transition your career. We believe that the teaching back and the sharing out is one of the most important things that really wraps up our transformative learning model. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek into how we think about learning as a community together, and very excited to talk with you all more and dig more into what the community can provide to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Cole. So now is a great time to start thinking about any questions. Feel free to start sending those across. As those start coming across to those, we'll start filtering those. I see already a few have. But just as a reminder, for those of you, and I believe most of you that are joining us probably already have been through the website, right? We do now use an application process to ensure that, hey, we can be good partners to you, but that also you will be able to find a project and find a home within our community. And then for our different options, the Experteering program, you will get everything that you need to plan and have a safe and high impact Experteering project. The Plus really gives you the opportunity to connect into more of those learning groups that Cole had just highlighted. And then the Institute program is really our premier fellowship program, competitive, an extra layer of application, and involves an in-person 3-day training, along with much more one-on-one coaching. Of course, all of this is in much greater detail on the website itself. For those of you that maybe were a member in the past and are wondering, hey, can I upgrade if I want to connect more into learning opportunities? We do have that available, and you can just inquire both through the website or directly to us as a team. So with that, I'll leave up our fun kind of thank you slide and open it up to questions. Alexandra, can you help us quarterback questions? What's come across so far?
Absolutely. We always get good questions that come through the Q&A feature on these webinars. So the first one that came through asked to remain anonymous and asked, $500 is kind of a lot for a matching site, and was wondering, is there a cheaper option? And if not, can you kind of give us some more context about where this fee is going?
Yeah, no, great question. Look, and it's one that we get a lot. And there are, plans in the process as well to create more scholarship programs. But for now, let me actually jump into demo mode again. So I can show just a little bit more about what that price point goes to. So I'm going to go ahead and strike up a new share. I'm going to pull my community site back up. So that should be showing up okay. Let me know if that is cool. So whenever you join our program, and I'll actually navigate here to a page to highlight it more, that for us to achieve our mission, right, and supporting now nearly 1,000 matches of experteers around the world, studying these many in depth to make sure that what we're doing is adding value. We've created a model that there's no shortcuts here. It just requires an element of one-on-one time from our support team. And so and this is a question that we get, like, hey, I'm volunteering, like, why would I be paying, anything, let alone $500? The way our program works, in addition to that very detailed, like, step-by-step process, is that we guide you not only to and through the project itself, but we also guide you, if you will, kind of emotionally through this project. Jumping your skills, jumping and going anywhere and applying your skills in a new setting, especially if that new setting, say work setting, is in a different country and a different culture. There's a lot that has to happen for you to actually be effective. Just yesterday, I was trading emails with someone who, works at a large tech company and really just wanted to go teach English. And over the course of a really long conversation, was able to understand how somebody who's not certified to go teach English, showing up at a school where she wanted to go to in northern India, to teach something that she herself was not a professional into, could actually create harm. And we dive in, and again, I've done research and have shared other research that shows that if you just kind of go and go on the first project that you can find and do something that you think you might know how to do, like coach someone or mentor someone or go teaching English to someone, but you yourself aren't a certified professional in those areas, you can actually create harm, you can create dependencies and erode dignity. And so what we do in our programs is really ensure that every person is doing a project that they are skilled and capable of doing. And that requires time from our team, time to vet and verify that these projects around the world actually exist for social impact, to confirm that the local organizations have bought into our hosting standards and principles so that they won't charge you any additional fees, that they'll create a safe and effective work environment for you. And so in our whole process, you'll apply, we deliver you best practices, we help you find the best project. So in addition to our current projects on our site, like Millie mentioned in our Experteering office hours, you can join those, you can interact with peers, you can get feedback. You can even use our website to find projects or co-create your own project with an organization. And then you get peer-based support, you go experteering. And then once you return home, we also reintegrate and help you reflect on your experience. So you can kind of dive back into your day-to-day with knowing that you're not alone with some of the thoughts that, and challenges that come when you return back home and are maybe encountering reverse culture shock. So the reason the price point is high is because we find that in order to really make an impact, there's a lot of work up front to make sure we're giving you a high quality project that aligns with your skills. But on the back end, we also want you to be supported and guided through an experience that will really help you make an impact, but be impacted in the process. So if that payment is ever an issue, if you can't afford it and you're committed to going, just reach out to our team. There are We've helped other experteers in the past fundraise on their own, or we've been able to create options that do make the program accessible. So again, we know there's a notable price tag there, but it is for the commitment to quality on all sides. And if you actually jump over like into some of our experteering stories on our page, oftentimes we see that people just want to see a little bit more of like, okay, who's gone and what did they do? So you can dive through our experteering stories and read more and see if there are people with, with your skill sets and what their experience is like and how this helped them. And we have a collection of videos and links to people's articles so you can dive into this and feel comfortable with, with the services that are provided beyond just the match. So Alexandra, that was probably a very long-winded answer there, but
no, that was great.
We'll keep going.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was great. That actually leads well into two other questions that are somewhat related to what you just said. So I'll just throw both of them at you at once. So the first question asks, how competitive is the application process and how do people know if they're eligible for a certain program? And then the second question, which you kind of touched on already, but I think is worth just revisiting again, is how is our organization, how's MovingWorlds programs different than volunteerism opportunities that you see where, you're paying to volunteer your skills versus, our program where it's more of a holistic approach to training and professional development. So how is it different than volunteerism?
Sure.
And how competitive is the application?
Yeah, no, good question. So on our website, on our page, we really define experteering pretty, there's a lot of content here, but we do have a section that's dedicated specifically to volunteerism. And you'll see that one thing we highlight, which is maybe strange for an organization trying to promote international skills-based volunteering, is we actually talk about a lot of the problems that come out of volunteerism itself. Some of the worst case situations are that there are actually fake orphanages that are spun up because people are willing to pay to go teach English or pay to go play with kids in other areas. And what that does is it creates a market for having people in poverty, especially children in poverty in very challenging looking scenarios. And that's why we don't let our organizations pay. We don't want to create market-based incentive, or we don't let our organizations charge. We don't want to create market-based incentives to try and attract you or attract your money. Experteering, the way we work is we find projects in the field of locally led organizations that have come forward to say, I'm working to solve this problem and I need some professional skills in order to solve it. And so in that, what we've done is we've essentially shifted the economics to, instead of go to communities saying, hey, we have people with money, create experiences for them, we found local change makers that are working on local solutions and saying, what type of skills and support do you need to get to the next level? And they come forward and they post those on our project. So from the very beginning, it's totally different than volunteerism. And our organizations, they're so in need of skills that they'll often provide, even free accommodations to our experteers. So that's the first question. The second part of the question is, how do I know if I'm qualified to say, be an experteer, right? Like it has the word expert in it, right? How do I know if I'm an expert? So also a common question, the way we think about it is, if you have demonstrable skills in a professional, service, or other sector, there's likely a project on our platform that is either something that you could solve, or our team could work with you to help you think about the areas and places that you could put those skills to solve local challenges. Again, I think our experteering stories, which is where we're at just before, show you that we have people that are a couple years into their career. We have some people coming out of graduate school. We have some mid-career experts, and we also have some senior experts. What we find is that as long as you have, again, demonstrable skills in an area, you'll likely qualify. What we use in the application process, it's less about competitiveness and more about, are we actually a good fit for each other? If we don't think we can find you a project, we'll email with you just to let you know whether we really think this is something that will work out well. Every week I'm on a slew of calls, as are other team members, with people helping navigate whether this is right to them. So, by all means, feel free to reach out if you're not sure with your individual case. The only caveat I'll mention here is that our Institute program, that is actually a very competitive program where we look at cohort design, kind of balance and diversity of applicants, strength of profile, and alignment with mission. So our Institute program is quite competitive. Our Experteer and Experteer Plus program, what we're really doing there is screening for fit to make sure that we can support you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mark. We just had one more question pop up, and I can take a stab at it to start off and
Sure.
then pass it over to you, Mark. So the question asks, approximately what percentage of your Experteers have brought their families? So it's an excellent question. And something that's been on my mind lately is I've been running through the frequently asked questions on our website, kind of updating them. So in terms of knowing which opportunities are open to bring your family, as Mark kind of walked us through, when you are looking at programs on our platform, you can filter them by any specific combination of filters that you want to apply. For example, location or language required or causes you want to support, but also you can filter for opportunities that are open to families. So we have a frequently asked question that actually goes through exactly what membership level you might need and how you can expertier with a partner or with your family. So sometimes we get couples or close friends, for example, who want to expertier at the same organization, or we'll have a couple or a set of close friends that want to each have their own customized project in the same location. So we have a great FAQ that runs through, in which scenarios would you need what level of membership and support for that. But as I mentioned, you can see right there on the description of the project whether they're open for, exactly like Mark is highlighting, couple and or family-friendly options. And in terms of, families with kids, we've seen people enroll their children in local daycares and things like that. In order to actively expertier, we have an age minimum of 18 years old. But we have seen people match with opportunities that are open for families, just to be there kind of for support and to make it kind of a whole family experience. Mark, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I will say, if you look on our Experteering Stories page, you'll see there aren't nearly as many people going with families. So, we'll be honest about that. But oftentimes the stories of the families are also not communicated because the stories that we tell are really of the skills and impact. But I think what's really unique about like our model and the way that we work is in the matching process, should you apply and should you get matched to a project, when you go through the phase of planning your trip, you'll work on this planning guide. And in that planning guide, you're not working with us, although we do have oversight and can support as needed. What you're actually doing is working with the local organization that you're going to be spending time at. And they are the ones who can answer your questions and actually even help make local connections, as an example, to a local daycare, to a school that's teaching a second language, whatever that might be. So what's really cool, and one thing that we just see all our experteers really rave about, is you're building a connection with local people that are from the cities or communities that you're going to work in. And they're the ones that can help navigate any of those things. Like, I'm coming with a partner, I'm coming with a family. So hope that answers that question. If you want to discuss on a case-by-case basis, you can reach out to our team and we'll gladly grab time with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. And then one last question that's come through asks, can you give me a better idea about how the virtual events work and how the community interacts? I think, Millie, you would probably have a lot to contribute on here. Do you want to take this one?
Hi, thank you, Alexandra. So that's a really great question right there. I think the concept of an online community may be a little bit confusing for people who aren't used to participating in them. So as Mark has on the screen right here, this is the hub of our online community. You know, regardless of what membership level you're at, you would have access to this. Of course, what you see once you're on the community platform will be different depending on your membership level. So here, you know, this is kind of where we take the learning experience that you would get from the webinar workshops, which are live, and then continue that learning experience through discussions on this online forum right here. And so you're welcome to come through, post and ask questions in the relevant groups, and then our community as well as our staff will regularly go through and respond as needed depending on what the questions and comments are and whatnot. And then in addition to that, you know, a lot of what this community, online community does is this actually acts as like a communication hub, but a lot of people can connect here and then take that community relationship off of the platform. I mean, for example, just today I noticed that we have a member who is based in New York who's connecting with someone in the Bay Area and another person in Taiwan over a Skype conversation because they all have a common interest in that they're all coming back from an Experteering project and really need support with reintegration. Which we have a fantastic guy on helping people to figure out how to reintegrate. Sometimes you think that going abroad into a new culture is going to be scary, different, and challenging, but sometimes coming back and readjusting is also a place that where community support will be very helpful. And so we have, you know, I guess to sum up, you know, we have like this online community where a lot of it is text, but then the conversation and dialogue can take place on live webinars and workshop events. And then we also have, you know, like live in-person events as well through the travel meetup section that Mark had showed you guys earlier, where, you know, if you're experteering in, say, Nairobi or in Kigali, you can say that I'm currently in Cusco, so if anybody wants to drop by, you can find my note on there to just like connect with me and meet in person. Our community is not just online, but it also takes place in the real world as well because, well, real world relationships matter. If you guys have any other questions about community, feel free to message me afterwards.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Millie. I think that's it in terms of what's come through so far. If y'all have any other questions, please feel free to use the Q&A feature that Mark pointed out at the beginning, and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Cool. I'm just doing a final scan as well. And I think, you know, maybe what we'll just, you know, kind of do as a highlight here is, you know, if anybody does have any other questions, here you go. We're live editing our PowerPoint, and we'll just put up our thank you slide, run a final share. So if anybody does have any questions, please do just go ahead and email us at any time. Our email address is, you can go generic and it'll funnel through to the best possible team member. Is just info@movingworlds.org. If you want to grab time, if you want to discuss options, just know that the whole team is here, committed to working and supporting you in any way that can help you create change and be changed. So thanks so much for joining, everybody. We're going to go ahead and end the webinar at this time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone.